Benny Bear and Ruby Rabbit, and the Great Forest Race. The sun rose early over Pinecone Forest, casting golden rays across the meadow. Benny Bear stretched on his porch and sniffed the fresh morning air. Just then, a blur of white fur zoomed past him. "Ruby?" he called. Ruby Rabbit skidded to a stop, her ears flapping and a flyer clutched in her paw. "Benny!" she cried. "It's today! The Great Forest Race!" Benny blinked. "Race?" "Yes, the one that goes from Owl Hollow to Maple Creek. There are ribbons and snacks and everything, and we're entering." Benny scratched his head. "Ruby, I'm not exactly fast." Ruby grinned. "That's okay, we're entering the team relay. You run the forest trail, I hop the meadow, and then we paddle the creek together." "Paddle?" Benny repeated, now wide-eyed. "Yup, I borrowed a canoe from Freddie Frog. Come on, we've got to register." At the check-in table, Granny Owl handed them race bibs and pointed towards the crowd of animals warming up. "Starts at the hollow. First team to reach Maple Creek wins the Blueberry Trophy." Ruby hopped in place full of energy. Benny did some slow bear stretches. "Don't worry," Ruby whispered, patting his arm. "We're not in it to win. We're in it for the fun." The whistle blew, and the race began. Benny was first. He lumbered through the winding forest trail, dodging roots and low branches. Squirrels zipped past him, and even a porcupine trotted by. But Benny kept going, huffing and puffing, his paws thudding against the earth. He passed a tired turtle, helped a hedgehog over a log, and reached the clearing where Ruby was waiting. "Tag," he said, panting. Ruby shot off like a rocket across the sunny meadow. She zoomed past raccoons, leapt over bushes, and waved at cheering birds. At the far end of the meadow, she reached the creek where their canoe waited. Benny arrived moments later, still catching his breath. They pushed off together, paddling through the sparkling water as dragonflies zipped past. All around them, other animal teams splashed and paddled, some in canoes, some on lily pads, and one mouse team riding a floating walnut shell. Ruby steered while Benny provided the power. "We're actually doing pretty well," Benny said. But then, splash. A gust of wind tipped their canoes sideways. Ruby squealed. Benny grabbed the sides. They didn't tip over, but their paddles floated away. "Oh no," cried Ruby. "Wait," said Benny, rummaging in the snack bag. "I have an idea." He pulled out 2 big wooden spoons. "Let's spoon paddle." They dipped the spoons into the water, laughing the whole way. It wasn't fast, but it worked. By the time they reached the finish line, most of the crowd was already there, cheering and eating pie. The winners, a pair of chipmunks, were holding the Blueberry Trophy high. Ruby and Benny paddled up to the shore, wet and grinning. Granny Owl met them with a warm smile. "You may not have come first, but you showed great spirit, and your spoon paddles were very clever." Benny laughed. "We call it bear-rabbit engineering." Just then, one of the younger racers, a little fox cub, tugged Ruby's paw. "I got scared in the meadow and wanted to quit, but when I saw you two laughing in your canoe, I decided to keep going." Ruby's heart melted. "That's the real prize." Granny Owl agreed. "In fact, we have a special award for most cheerful team." She handed them a ribbon with glittery letters and a little wooden spoon glued to it. Benny chuckled. "Best ribbon I've ever earned." Later, they sat on a picnic blanket eating blueberry pie with the other racers. The air was full of laughter, music, and fireflies. Ruby leaned back against Benny's big, fluffy shoulder. "That was one of the best races ever." Benny nodded. "Especially since we didn't sink." They both laughed, knowing that in every race the real victory was the fun they had together and the memories they made.